Bookworms, welcome to the Weekend Readers Book Club. Thank you for joining us. In this episode, we are discussing the novel entitled Hannibal Rising by Thomas Harris. Now, Hannibal Rising is the fourth book in the Hannibal Lecter series, and in time lineacy, or like just in the timeline of the Hannibal Lecter story, Hannibal Rising is actually the first book, as it is the origin story of Hannibal Lecter. Now, I want to take you on a journey, right? So, I read Red Dragon, then I read Silence of the Lambs, and then I read Hannibal, and then I was like, awesome, there is a Hannibal Lecter origin story that, in my mind, would capture all the crimes or activities Hannibal Lecter did to actually get into the position that he is in Red Dragon and Silence of the Lambs, i.e. locked up in the mental facility. However, boy oh boy, was I shocked reading Hannibal Rising, because although it's the origin story of Hannibal Lecter, it's the origin story of Hannibal Lecter as a baby, a child, a preteen, and covers everything up until the fact that he comes to America, and it doesn't cover any of the cool stuff that I was looking forward to, especially after reading Hannibal, and you had the Mason character there, and they're describing what's going on and how Hannibal tortured him. I thought that's what we were getting in this book. Boy oh boy, was I surprised when I kept on reading Hannibal Rising and we got none of that. So, as I said, it covers off Hannibal as a child in Germany, going to Austria, studying, his relationship with his, I'm going to say stepmother. It covers his relationship with Misha, his sister, Misha's passing, and what he does to rectify that. And we go all the way until he steps foot in the United States of America. Now, through my research after the fact, I believe what I was after is what's covered off in the Hannibal TV series. I don't want to watch a TV series. I thought that's what I was getting with the Hannibal Rising book, but unfortunately it wasn't, as I said. So, yeah. It's just his origin story of him being little baby, teenage, adolescent Hannibal Lecter. So, I mean, I read the book. I was like, as the book got closer and closer to the end, I was like, where is the stuff that I wanted? And, eventually at the end of the book, I realized it wasn't in there. Overall, the story itself was interesting. However, if I was to put it on the scheme of things in relation to the three other Hannibal Lecter books I just completed, i.e. Red Dragon, Silence of the Lambs, and Hannibal, I'm probably going to say that after reading it and completing it, it's the least favourite of the four books, in my opinion. But while I was invested and enjoyed reading it, it just didn't have what I was looking for and what I expected. So that may skew the fact that I don't dislike this book, but I'm like, I've read it, I probably won't read it again, but like, cool, it's there. My own assumption of what this book is going to be versus what I actually got probably skews that opinion in relation to saying that the book is the worst of all four very heavily. So yeah, you can take that with a grain of salt. Did I enjoy the story that I received in the Hannibal Rising book? Yeah, it was okay. Did I enjoy the character development through Hannibal as he goes through all stages of his life? Yeah. Did I enjoy the realization on the I'm gonna say trigger, but the realization that Hannibal's like, oh, I'm gonna start, slicing and dicing, but I'm gonna do it for a reason. Yeah, I enjoyed that too. But overall, as I said, it just wasn't what I expected. Now, I am glad that I read Hannibal Rising. It completes the 4-book series off, as I can't find another book, which I was really hoping there was a book about what Hannibal did in depth to get into the position of where he was when we first met him in Red Dragon, i.e. in the mental facility, and then in Silence of the Lambs. But I couldn't find any, and as I said, I think the TV series covers that. But overall, it was a decent read. Will this book be going onto my bookshelf? Yes and no. Yes, I'm going to go and look for the book at a book sale or secondhand shop. Thank you, Brian, my book guy, for his assistance in doing that. The reason for it is because I'd like the whole series. Would I personally go out of the way and reread Hannibal Rising again? Probably not, but I want to complete the series because I enjoyed the latter 3 books. But as I said, Hannibal Rising was just the least favourite of mine. And in my opinion, while it does touch and give you a glimpse of insight into how Hannibal Lecter possibly works in relation to choosing his victims, it's a lot of information, but it's like a lot of it's not relative to the overall arc of Hannibal Lecter, but it sort of just, takes in the fact that potentially he's somewhat of a tortured soul. In my opinion, has a higher moral code, and if you miss the mark with that moral code, then there are consequences to be had. But yeah, that's just my opinion. So, with that being said, it is now time to find out what the next read is for the Weekend Readers Book Club. And Bookworms, we can confirm that the next read is The Terminal List by Jack Carr. Now, Terminal List by Jack Carr, I picked up because it had a photo of Chris Pratt on the cover. I assumed, without looking and just while going through the book sales that I go through, that The Terminal List was potentially going to be the Chris Pratt movie where his daughter comes back in time and then they go to the future to fight the war. I think it's the Tomorrow War. I assumed, just looking at the cover, that that's what I was getting. And picked it up, put it in my bag and paid it, and then had it on my bookshelf to read. I've pulled it out, I've read the back blurb, and it's not even that. It's something completely different. So I'm excited for this. I'm intrigued to see where this goes. And yeah, The Terminal List by Jack Carr, you are the next read for the Weekend Readers Book Club. So Bookworms, that was my review and discussion of Hannibal Rising by Thomas Harris. A book, as I said, I assumed I was getting one thing. I got something completely different. What I got was okay, but it wasn't what I expected, so that may, as I said, hinder the way in which I feel about this book. Overall, I ranked it the lowest of the Hannibal Lecter books, but that completes the Hannibal Lecter trilogy, which I'm actually really proud of. 4 books, done and dusted, and I got somewhat the lore of Hannibal Lecter. Am I going to go and watch the TV show to see all the cool stuff that I wanted to see? Probably not. But who knows, I might just decide to tune in one day after watching the movies and go, yeah, I really do want to watch it. So Bookworms, thank you again for joining us. And until next time, when we discuss The Terminal List by Jack Carr, happy reading.